What's up? Matt here, and welcome to my fragrance obsession. In tonight's episode, we're going to go back to the house of Al-Rehab. Now, this is one out of two reviews which I'm going to be doing tonight. I'm going to be talking about two fragrances from Al-Rehab, but the first one we're going to talk about is a personal favourite of mine. Now, I have been into smelling Al-Rehab fragrances for about a month now. I'm now down to owning 8 of them. I've got 2 more in the mail actually coming soon. So yeah, I'm not going to tell you what they are though. That's the surprise. Anyway, so yes, the fragrance that we are going to be talking about is a one that's considered, I think, mainly for the more mature crowd. This is a one which I have always wanted to smell. A lot of people have told me to smell this one because of my tastes. As you guys know, you all know that I love my 80s powerhouse scents. A lot of people might not like this fragrance. If you don't like the 80s powerhouse scents, you are not going to like this fragrance. This one to me is actually a really good fragrance, and it's called Lord. Now, there's not a lot of reviewers reviewing this fragrance out there. I know that my friend Stephen, I will put his channel in the description below. I know he's talked about this fragrance before. I think he was the only one to do it. So that's pretty cool, I think, because I love it when reviewers talk about a fragrance that nobody else has done, and this is one of them. So yes, it's called Lord. I think the main reason it's called Lord is because it's actually a copy of possibly 2 of the greatest powerhouse fragrances of all time. Those powerhouse fragrances are... There we go. Kouros by Yves Saint Laurent, which came out in 1981, and Lapidus Pour Homme, which came out in 1987. Now, pretty much to my nose, this fragrance smells like Lapidus Pour Homme and Kouros mixed together. A lot of people have said that it just smells like Kouros, but to me, I would say that it's more close to Lapidus Pour Homme. But we are going to talk about it now. So, of course, this is for the roll-on, guys. If you have the spray, I'm sure there's not going to be any difference, because I've heard that the spray lasts for a long time. The oil, however, this stuff lasts for hours and hours and hours. But we are going to talk about this. So, yes, we get the box, Toblerone style box. You know, I always say that in these reviews. Actually, you know what? I'm going to show you more detail on this box. I really like it. It's kind of like, we get Lord here in gold writing. We get this sort of like marble effect right here, which is actually pretty cool. And Lapidus, the box for Lapidus Pour Homme, actually is white. It's like a white marble effect. So that's probably where they're getting the inspiration from. And the name Lord, well, Kouros is actually a name for a Greek prince. So Lord, Prince, you know, you get the idea. There's a bit of a connection as to why it's a copy. But yes, we are going to get into it now. So, of course, we get inside the box here, we get Lord written inside, which is a nice little feature. It does that with all of the Al-Rehabs. They all have the name of the fragrance on the inside of the box. And here's the little bottle. Now, compared to most Al-Rehabs, this one is actually detailed quite nicely. A lot of them are pretty bare. We get the roll on there. So, yeah. And of course, not to mention, right on top we get the Al-Rehab right there. So, let's get into this. Yeah, I'm fine. Now, because this is such a strong scent, you don't have to spray that much. So, yeah, that's me sorted. Now, here we go. Now, this fragrance came out in 2014, just like the rest of Al-Rehab's fragrances, so, yeah. I wouldn't know what to call this, though. That's what's here. I wouldn't say it was more of an oriental woody or something. I guess that's the only word I would really give it. Now, in terms of the notes, now this fragrance does not have any notes listed, so I'm just going to go by what I smell, and to be honest, with it smelling like Kouros and Lapidus, it shouldn't be that difficult to get any of the notes. Now, firstly, we're going to talk about the one that came out first, Kouros. Now, this fragrance came out in 1981, and this fragrance is known as the greatest powerhouse of all time. Now, when this fragrance first came out, it was very much like, a lot of people didn't like it. They thought it had this dirty smell to it, and it still does. I mean, this fragrance has been through so many reformulations, but it's no doubt still a high-class, powerful masterpiece. People say that the vintage version is better, but I will talk about that in a second. But the thing is, like, when I smell this, when I smell Lord, I get the opening of Kouros. I get that sort of clove, that type of bergamot smell that it has. It's also got a little bit of oak moss in there. So I get a mossy, I get a kind of tobacco sort of smell out of Lord. I find it a little bit smoky. But no doubt, it's very pungent, and it's a very dynamic fragrance. Very bold, very masculine. It's a little bit green as well. I don't know whether it's like a vetiver or a sort of grass sort of smell, but I do get a very earthy green smell out of this. A little bit soapy also. It's funny because whenever I mention green, I always say soapy afterwards. I've noticed that in a lot of my reviews, but I guess a green vibe in a fragrance comes across as smelling soapy, so that's the only reason I've said that. But yes, very reminiscent to Kuros in the opening. Very much so. But here's the interesting thing. When I smell this, I'm also getting Lapidus Pour Homme. If you guys have never smelled both of these fragrances, by the way, they share a lot of similarities between one another. Now, Lapidus it is different in terms of notes. Now, we still do get oak moss. We also get a little bit of clove in this fragrance also, but we get honey, pineapple, and we get tobacco in this scent. So when I smell this scent, do I get a kind of honey vibe out of it? Yeah, I do get a little bit of a honey vibe out of Lord, if I'm honest. It's strong. Like, it's just a very strong, pungent fragrance, but it's got a bit of a sweetness to it, and that's what I kind of like about this. It's like a sort of honey-covered tobacco. It's like a honey-covered tobacco and oak moss bomb. That's what it kind of reminds me of. But it's really, really good. Like, for the price, £1.99 for a 6ml oil roll-on, which is going to last you 10 plus hours on your skin. I don't think that's bad value at all. Literally. Because for Kuros, it is the most expensive fragrance compared to Lapidus. You're probably going to pay for a 50ml bottle of this like this. This is probably going to go for maybe about 30 to 40 pounds. For Lapidus, you're going to pay around 15 pounds for a 100ml bottle. So, again, that's not bad either. But this lasts and lasts. I have not come across an Al-Rehab that lasts longer than this. Perhaps Sultan, and Sultan lasts for a long time. But this one, 10 plus hours. And that's incredible, I think. I mean, yes, Al-Rehab oils, they are oils. They don't have alcohol, so they're very safe to use. They don't harm your skin. They're very natural. They're made with good ingredients, and they last. And that's what's so unique about Al-Rehab. And when I smell this, it's great. Now, I read a blog online about this fragrance, and somebody said that this smells like the vintage version of Kuros. Now, I don't know. Of course, I've never smelled vintage Kuros. I know that there's reviewers on YouTube who have reviewed the vintage Kuros, so I cannot really say much on that. But if you guys have smelled any previous formulations of YSL Kuros, and you've smelled this fragrance also, let me know in the comments below, because honestly, I would love to know, seriously. But this is just a great fragrance. If you're going to purchase this fragrance for somebody, because I've always said, like, these fragrances are great stocking fillers. If you're, like, buying for someone who's into fragrances, you cannot get better than these, personally, because they're so cheap and they're high quality, and they just fit in a stocking, like, seriously. They're great. But if you want to buy them Lord, this is for somebody who's into the powerhouse genre. For somebody who is into the mature, retro style scents, Lord, it will really impress that person, I'm telling you. Because I remember the first time smelling this, I loved it, and I still do. This is a great scent, great longevity. Sillage is also really good. Like, like right now, it's in the air right now, and you guys saw how much I put on my hand. It's that pungent. It's just a powerful scent, but it's nice, It's not like usually with a lot of powerhouse scents, they have that sort of mature smell. They don't really have that kind of elegant edge. They just smell really macho. When men back in time when men didn't really care, they were all rugged and they had the mullets and stuff like that. These days, a gentleman style fragrance is maybe something like Valentino Uomo, where you have to look very smart and everything. Back in the 80s, men weren't like that. That was the look back then, And this fragrance is like that. I wouldn't exactly call it an elegant scent. I wouldn't really call it a sophisticated scent either. But it's definitely worth having in your collection, especially if you own Lapidus Pour Homme and Kuros. Seriously, you will like it. So guys, thank you so much for watching my review on Lord by Al-Rehab. This is a really nice sort of musky, tobacco, honey sort of smell. Very strong, very, very similar to Lapidus Pour Homme and Kuros if you haven't yet tried it. But please, guys, give it a chance. You might really like it. And for the price, you can't go wrong. Now, I'm going to shut up because I'm getting sick of my voice. And I'm going to do another review after this, guys, for another Al-Rehab fragrance. So please stay tuned for that. Thank you so much for watching, guys. Keep smelling good, and I will see you in the next episode. Bye-bye for now, guys.